Okay, so there are three different types of key signatures. There are sharp key signatures, flat key signatures, and blank key signatures. Let's talk about sharps first. So whenever we have sharps in our key signature, they go in a very specific order. That order is F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Now this is an order that you're gonna need to memorize. The way that I memorized it when I was in school was fat cats go down alleys eating bread. Now, cats don't eat bread, so you can exchange that B for whatever you want to exchange it for. Some kids like birds. Some kids think it's funny to put Barker there, which is rude. I've heard kids put babies because it's more memorable. Whatever works to help you memorize F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Now that order of sharps comes in handy whenever we need to figure out what our key signature is. First though, let's practice how to find what key we're in. So let's say I have a key signature with 3 sharps. Now I know that the order of those sharps has to be F, C, G, because that's our order of sharps. Fat cats go. So since the sharps are in that order, I know my last sharp in that key signature is going to be G sharp. Now if I go up a half step from G sharp, that brings me to A. That's my key. Any sharp key signature. Any sharp key signature. You take that last sharp, you go up a half step, that's your key. Let's try another one. This key signature has 5 sharps. I know because of my order of sharps that those sharps have to be F, C, G, D, and A. So since my last sharp is A sharp, let's go up a half step to B. That's what key I'm in, the key of B. It's also important to note that whenever I say what key we're in, we're specifically talking about major keys right now. So that was the key of B major. Okay, so now let's think about it backwards. I know what key I'm in. How do I know what the key signature is? Well, if we know what key we're in, we know what note is a half step above the last sharp in our key signature. So let's say we're in the key of E. A half step below E is E flat, but we're in sharp key signature, so we want to think in sharps. So the same thing as E flat is D sharp. So I know that D sharp has to be the last sharp in my key signature. So I walk through my order of sharps knowing that I'm going to stop at D sharp. F, C, G, D. So I know that I have 4 sharps in my key signature, and those are going to be F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Now there's 2 key signatures that you just have to memorize. There's no trick for them, you just have to learn them. And that is when there's no accidentals in the key signature at all, that's the key of C. And when there's 1 flat in the key signature, that's the key of F. You just have to memorize those. Now with flat key signatures, the rule is different. First of all, our order of flats is different from our order of sharps. In fact, it's the exact opposite. If you take your order of sharps and go backwards, B, E, A, D, G, C, F, that's your order of flats. You could also memorize this by realizing that the first 4 letters spell the word bead, and then say something like greatest common factor at the end, if that helps you memorize it a little easier. How do we know what key we're in if we have a flat key signature? Let's take a look at this key signature that has 4 flats. I want to go to the second to last flat in the key signature. That's going to be A flat. That's our key. That's literally it. You just find the second to last flat, that's your key. So how do we make this one work backwards? Well, let's say that we know we're in the key of G flat. That means we know that our second to last flat is G flat. So when we go through our order of flats, we're going to want to go 1 past G flat to know which flats are in our key signature. So let's think through that. B, E, A, D, G, and then we want to go 1 more, C. So we know that in the key of G flat, we're going to have 6 flats, and those flats are B, E, A, D, G, and C flat. So this makes our scale building a lot easier, because now all that we have to do is know what our key signature is. So if I want to build my E flat major scale, first let me think about what that key signature is going to be. I know that E flat major means that E flat is the second to last flat in my key signature. So I'm going to go in my order of flats past E flat by 1 flat. B flat, E flat, A flat. Now I know that B flat, E flat, and A flat are in the key of E flat major. So I know that my E flat major scale is going to start on an E flat because it's the E flat major scale. Now I just write an octave of notes from E flat to E flat. Then I check back and figure out which flats I'm supposed to have in there. B flat, E flat, and A flat. So I mark all of my B's flat, mark all of my E's flat, and all of my A's flat. Now I have my E flat major scale. Way easier than using the whole half formula, for sure. Hopefully this helps you understand key signatures a little bit more. It's super useful information, especially when you're trying to learn your scales, and especially when you're trying to compose. I hope this helps. And if you're confused by it, just scroll to the bottom of the page and click on the button that lets you set up an appointment with me. See you later.